holidays and Merry Christmas, cult members and Whovians, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is going to be our spoiler reaction review discussion of the fourth and final 60th anniversary special, the holiday special of Doctor Who, The Church on Ruby Road.
Yes.
Longest intro ever. We have discussed how much we loved the Tennant, the 14th Doctor with Donna, having that Doctor have a satisfying ending, because a Doctor always has an ending where it's sad and heartbreaking and whatever.
Right.
And he got this, do his thing,
Right.
be home,
Right.
with the noble.
Not the sad ending that we got before.
Yes. So we had the introduction of Ncuti as 15, and this episode is the introduction for Ruby, Millie Gibson, who's playing Ruby Sunday. And we're going to discuss this. I love that this is not the World is in Peril Christmas episode.
Right. I mean, there was a baby in peril.
Right. But London wasn't getting attacked again.
Right. Because I don't know why anybody stays in London for Christmas.
Right.
Because there's always somebody invading. Yeah. It was a very satisfying, but still a bit of a what's going on kind of introduction to the new companion.
Yeah. And we get a little bit more with Ncuti as the Doctor.
Yes.
We get his flamboyant is not the right word. His much more jovial style for the Doctor.
Right. And I think we talked about this in the last one, that I mean, it's kind of appropriate that they had the bifurcation of of the two
bi-generation
of the two Doctors, because we've talked about this for a while, that David Tennant's Doctor was very sad. The Time War really weighed on him, where Matt Smith's Doctor was like, I'm not even going to think about that. I'm just going to go do my thing. So to have the split, and David Tennant's Doctor is now going to go off and kind of have a family, have people around him that care about him, and then what comes out of that closure for him is Ncuti's Doctor, who can just there was still a little bit of, I wouldn't say sad, but a little like wistfulness to him.
Remembrance of who they are.
Yeah.
Because they addressed that he was an orphan, which is the timeless child.
Yeah.
And
again, bringing up the Jodie Whittaker Doctor's timeline.
Yeah. And so I love that they allowed the moment to be, yes, it's sad. I don't know who my parents are either, because Ruby's parents, she doesn't know who her parents are. And they tried to find her parents and they weren't able to.
I also kind of felt like it was a bit of the, am I ready to do this again with another companion? Because obviously the two of them got along really well.
Yeah.
And, it was a little reminiscent of Amy, and I mean, they just clicked and they were having fun and they were laughing and they were like, they got into a banter immediately.
Yeah.
And then, but kind of that, when he was standing there looking at the house, like, okay, am I ready to do this again? Because companions are always very heartbreaking for the Doctor, because they're going to leave one way or the other.
Well, and he even made a point of, when Ruby asked him, like, they were looking at all the photos of all the foster kids.
Yeah.
And he's like, you've got the biggest family in the world. And she says, do you have anybody? And he, like, for a long pause, thought, like, about everybody he's lost.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm alone.
Yeah.
And then you have that moment where he comes back and is, like, looking the house like, I don't know if this is something I want.
Yeah.
But he didn't instantly leave. So
Right. We'll go into the TARDIS and we'll hang around, maybe dust the round things for a minute
and let the TARDIS make the decision,
and
because the TARDIS
see.
always knows.
Yeah.
And when Ruby finally figures everything out, like, oh wait, he is a time traveler, and she goes run out the door. We will get to Miss Flood in a minute, but the TARDIS opens,
Yeah.
and and Miss Flood's like, "Go have fun, good
Yep.
luck," kind of thing. And then I love that they did the whole the companion learning about the TARDIS without her saying it's bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
Or like Clara did. It's smaller on the outside. It's a new one. But they're I understand now why the two of them were cast, specifically the two of them cast together,
Yeah.
because they have the chemistry that
Yeah.
you want between the Doctor and the companion. I have come to appreciate what Jenna Coleman did with Clara,
Yeah.
and how and her time with Matt Smith. Their chemistry was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And her chemistry with Peter Capaldi evolved into something very meaningful.
Yeah.
And stuff. But almost every other version of the Doctor and the companion, the actors have always clicked very, 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 very well.
Yeah.
And you have to have that with this kind of whimsical kind of storytelling that it looks like they're going to do.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that they are instantly into the banter, instantly working off of each other, instantly going, you figured that out, that means this, and I figured out this, which means that, and you figured out this, and it means that.
Yeah.
So that, like,
she's immediately, why did you leave the baby?
Yeah.
I was like, you left the baby too.
Yeah. And I like that she wasn't afraid even before she knew about the Doctor.
She jumped on
out
the ladder
window to go after the goblins.
I mean, she was afraid. She was like, what am I
What?
doing up here? But baby.
But then the goblin hissed at her, and she's like, "You hissed at me? That's such a Donna thing. Like, how dare you? I'm going to kick you into the freaking Tuesday." Like, oi. They set up a bunch of stuff here too.
Oh yeah.
So with the 3 episodes that we had with for the 60th, the overarching theme was there is someone else in charge of the different things that were going on.
Yep.
And
The big guy.
the Meep, the toy maker, they all mention someone else.
Yep.
The clue of the tooth being the master was lost to the toy maker, and he made him a tooth, and then when the toy maker got beat, the tooth came out, somebody grabbed it.
A female hand.
A female hand with red fingernail polish. The memes that are going around with who it could possibly be, and people photoshopping red fingernail polish on everybody's hands to say who it could be, is totally on point. But they also set up Miss Flood.
Okay, but hold on before you go there. The woman who leaves Ruby
Yeah.
at the church.
Yeah.
They never show her.
No.
And then Ruby tries to find out who her birth parents are, and through this woman's TV show, podcast, whatever it was.
And I looked it up. That is actually a show in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Like, it is that she is the host.
We'll
of that.
find your bio parents.
It's like the ancestor thing that they do here with the like celebrity ancestors.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the woman, Miss McCall, calls her to tell her we couldn't find anything about who your bio parents were. And then, he goes back to save Ruby from being taken by the goblins and changing everybody's lives for the worse. And there's the woman, and you still don't see her front. And he even, I was like, are you gonna go after her?
Yeah.
But he didn't, which I don't know if that's gonna come back to bite them later.
I think that's going to be the underlying story.
There's gonna be somebody that they just always there, but not.
Ruby's gonna ask on a regular basis. I wonder what my mom was like, or wonder who my dad was, or I wonder why I was left,
Or just this person, right?
yeah, like she's always gonna be there. Like fun instant fan theory. It's Ruby.
Yeah,
Ruby's the mom.
but that would be how's your mom?
I-
You.
It's Doctor Who.
That's true.
Timey-wimey and shit. Like, this is not Marvel where time is a flat circle. It's red string and big ball of wibbly wobbly.
It's all those ropes inside the gnome ship.
I love that. I love I'm learning a new vocabulary. Shut up. Jesus Christ. They're gonna eat the baby in 3 minutes. I'm learning a new vocabulary. So that's definitely going to be the one of the storylines that are going to be going forward.
And then we have Mrs. Flood.
And then we have Mrs. Flood, who we are introduced as the nosy neighbor harassing the other neighbor for parking the TARDIS on the sidewalk. Put it in a parking space. Come on, 15, get your shit together.
Still new, still figuring it out.
Still trying to figure it out. She's the one who encourages Ruby to go after the Doctor, to go into the TARDIS. She watched the TARDIS leave, come back, leave again, come back. And then at the end, after the TARDIS leaves, after Ruby goes into the TARDIS and the TARDIS goes to leave, and the other neighbor that she was harassing earlier was like, don't stop. He's like, you see it? It disappeared. All that stuff. And she tells him, don't stress it.
It's fine.
It's fine. And then she looks at us in the camera and says, what, you've never seen a TARDIS before?
Yeah.
And instantly,
who are you?
Instantly, we're both on the phone going, okay, Anita Dobson. Okay, Anita Dobson. Oh, she's married to Brian May from Queen. Okay, okay, all right. No, this was one of the reasons why we were excited about Davies. Is we're going to have these weird mysteries that we're just not going to get answers to, and we're going to be constantly having questions.
Yes.
Of what these threads are going to be pulling at.
Right. Just don't pull them off it and never answer them.
He answered some. He answered some.
There were some out there you're like, we never got an answer to that one.
There was some small bickering online, because that's people bicker online for stupid reasons, about Chuti at the dance club in a kilt. He was
born in Scotland.
He was raised in Scotland.
Raised. I thought he was born in Scotland.
He got to Scotland when he was like 2.
Okay.
So his family fled Rwanda, I believe, and settled and was raised in Scotland. So he is Scottish, and that's why his accent's always kind of look. There was a couple times in this episode where he was talking so fast with his accent kind of floating in and out, so the Rwandan, Scottish, English accent. It's like, okay, whoa. Need subtitles.
Those of us who watched him in sex ed, we got it.
But that scene, specifically for me, was a very good introduction of who this Doctor's going to be.
Yeah.
That he stopped and danced and enjoyed the evening.
Yep.
And yes, he was kind of keeping an eye on Ruby and all the kind of the weird stuff that was going on around her, but he is free of that guilt that we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
But that was a great way. It's not him saying it. It's not him doing something to show that he's just free to be who he is. And then later he's talking to the cop when the snowball head falls on him, the whatever thing. And the prim joke was hilarious.
Really, a prim at midnight? It's my shopping.
It's my shopping. And him talking to the cop and him like the 2-carat ring in your pocket, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like that whole explanation. But him saying you don't present.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a he because you don't present, and it's a diamond ring.
It's a diamond ring
because gay men are not going to get each other diamond rings as engagement rings.
So again, I think they're going to play with this idea that the Doctor is kind of like Jack, just going to be open to this particular Doctor.
He's been a man. He's been a woman.
Yes. Yes.
And they talk about that in the last episode, that now he is both. He is all. He
Yeah.
is the Doctor.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
he is they.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, whatever, and
And we will keep calling him until someone comes along and says, "Hey, they want to. We're calling the Doctor them or
Yeah,
they."
yeah.
And that's fine.
But it makes sense,
Yeah.
because that's technically, like, biologically,
Yeah.
if the Doctor can be biological, that's what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
we called Jodie's Doctor Her all the time because that was just was her.
Yeah.
That was so. But I like that introduction. We got the loving part of 15 forgiving himself and allowing himself to rest with him talking 14 and 15 talking to each other.
yeah,
And this one we have that constantly smiling and dancing and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was music.
By the way, Judy and
Millie.
can sing.
Can sing, which I will not be surprised if we don't have a musical episode. They go to a planet where it's only communicate in song.
In song, yeah, like Captain Marvel, or the Marvels.
The Marvels, yeah.
And I'm sure the internet will have a hissy fit and whatever.
The goblins were cool. Like, the goblins were cool and creepy and whatever. But when that scene starts where they start singing, I was like, okay. Like,
but it's perfect. It's perfectly
perfect,
Doctor Who. Like, okay, yeah, we've, around the edges, we're moving into the more current social, climes
conversation.
and norms and
Yeah.
everything, with the, presenting and all of that. But in the heart, we are still, Cybermen with plungers and a whisk. Come on.
We're Daleks with
or Daleks with a
yeah.
plunger and a whisk.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's still
let's be silly.
Engaging in the camp is part of the reason why we love this show
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
And I kind of have missed that. I've missed that kind of sometimes a little bit too much over the top camp. And the special effects on the goblins was so good.
Yeah.
And the Goblin King, was practical. That tongue was amazing, creepy but amazing.
Creepy, yeah.
Like, the set design for the interior of the ship was super cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with this, with the idea of Disney Plus being a partner, they have a little more money to spend, and you could definitely tell in the shows where they've had more money, where they could travel to more places, when they could do more things, it enriches the show a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
The some of the time with Jodie, they just didn't have the money to travel somewhere, so they were just in the same gravel pit as they've been like 17 times in Cardiff,
Yeah.
But when it's Matt Smith and they come to the States and they film in Central Park, like, you could just it gives you a bigger sandbox to play. Excuse me, a bigger sandbox to play in. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of a I like that, like that they're willing to do that. They also at the end announced spring of 2024 for Series 15.
Yes.
And so we are excited because we thought it was going to be probably fall at the earliest.
Yeah.
Now, we know that they are already filming for Series 16, the second season with Chuti and Millie. But they've already filmed it. They were done. They were not affected by the strike because it's a different.
Because it was in the UK.
It was in the UK.
Yeah.
So it was a different setup. So they were not affected by the strike, so they were able to continue to work.
Yep.
And so yay! Like,
Yep.
we're gonna get.
We don't have to wait for 3 years again.
Yeah, when we had 20 plus months, 25 months from when Jodie regenerated into David Tennant.
Yeah.
For us to think about, like, they hadn't even filmed stuff with Tennant.
Yeah.
Until after that regeneration happened.
Yeah.
And so it was it was one of those things where I was like, one of my struggles with this show is that the BBC always seems to forget that they have Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And so um they film everything at once. They film all 8, 10, 12 episodes they're going to do. They
Yeah.
film them all at once. They are not one of the American setups where they're filming episodes 15, 16 when episode 1 comes out.
Yeah.
And so they can do some course correcting as they go along. This is the story, we're sticking with it.
Yep.
We will course correct in the off season, but then it's 18 months between seasons.
Yeah.
And you lose that momentum. So then you have to reintroduce Doctor Who
Yeah.
to the casual fans who are around, and then possibly try to get the new ones. And so if you have this setup, we did 3 episodes in November. We have a big Christmas episode. Spring, that means April, March, April, May for us.
Mhm.
So there'll be a rhythm to go with that, and then the new ones will come out in again spring 2025. So you have that rhythm of going.
Right, and that's how they were for a while, right? We
Yeah.
had a Christmas holiday, New Year's, whatever that time frame special. Then you get in spring-ish the new season, and then in December, whatever, you get the holiday special. And so it spreads it out a little bit more, and you have, if you're done by May, June, right, with your season, those of us diehard fans have the rest of the year to go watch the season or a couple of seasons over again.
Yep.
And then
And
get
then we'll be like, we will do a rewatch of the previous season, like 3 weeks before we know that the new one is coming out.
Yeah.
Or like if the Christmas, like in Christmas, we just have Doctor Who pretty much on in the
Yeah,
background
yeah.
throughout the season.
Yeah, so it gives I like this schedule.
Yeah.
I understand that sometimes it's not easy to keep up with, especially if you're actors, especially the Doctor, who tend to be have some other projects, maybe
Yeah.
not this, Doctor Who level, but maybe on not Broadway,
In the West End.
in the West End. There you go.
Yeah.
The London's equivalent of Broadway, or a smaller movie or something. It gives them the opportunity to go do that.
I want them, and I think Davies is he's got a plan. He knows what he's doing. He's got the backing to do it. I want them to keep this momentum going forward.
Yep.
Because I'm not one of those gatekeeping fandoms. I want all of my friends, all of everybody, to be into the same things that I am.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to go to a party and spend time talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Or Star Wars or Marvel or blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Christian, our oldest son, and I had a whole conversation last night about the new Doctor and the 60th anniversary special. And
We
everything.
were
It's
at
fun.
we were at a Christmas party over the weekend.
Yeah.
And so a couple of people were like, "We're ready for the Christmas special." And
Yeah.
we're like, "Yeah, we're ready. We are too." So I want that. I want more fans to come to the table, and it's easier for fans to come to the table when you're reminding them all the time new episodes are coming.
Yeah.
Or here's all the behind the scenes stuff that we got for the last 2 months with the 60th anniversary stuff. So
Yep.
I'm excited. I'm excited that we are both very excited for this episode, but also the direction in which they're going forward,
Yes.
leading us.
Yes.
to-
I have not liked any of the last 4 episodes.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
will go watch them all again right now.
Right. After nachos.
After nachos.
Merry Christmas, we're having Mexican food. Welcome to the States. We're
Feliz
talking about a
Navidad.
British show. We live in the States, and we're going to have Mexican food for dinner.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. So let us know what you thought of this episode and our reaction and discussion about it in the comments down below. Please be nice. That is a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out, and it's free. And hit the bell for notifications. Follow us on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Links in the description down below. And until next time, cult members, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and good afternoon, good evening.